echoing cries of Gwaneumsa. The wind howled a mournful dirge through the skeletal pines of Mount Jiri, their needles like bony fingers clawing at the leaden sky. A ghostly mist clung to the sheer slopes, obscuring the ancient temple of Gwaneumsa, a place shrouded in hushed tales of restless spirits and forgotten tragedies. I, a seasoned historian enamored with the echoes of the past, stood at the foot of the brooding mountain, the dire warnings of villagers about vengeful ghosts that tore trespassers limb from limb, and a light-devouring spirit that haunted the cursed ruins echoing in my ears. Ignoring their pleas, I began my solitary ascent, my heart fluttering against my ribs like a caged bird. The winding path, once a well-trodden pilgrimage route during Gwaneumsa's heyday, was now lost, claimed by the encroaching forest. The silence was broken only by the cry of raptors riding frigid updrafts high above and the unsettling rustling of unseen things in the undergrowth. As I climbed into thinned air, the whispers drifted from the woods and craggy overhangs. At first the susurrations were indistinct, easily dismissed as the wind caressing twisted pines. But as I traversed a narrow defile, the mutterings clarified into anguished human cries, frantic shrieks of pain coupled with insane cackles of mirth, which seemed to originate from right beside my ear, sending panicked heartbeats thundering through my skull. Despite every primal instinct urging me to flee, I pressed on, driven by visions of discovering irrefutable proof of the existence of lost souls. The last bloody rays of the setting sun pierced the swirling fog banks, revealing the crumbling bulk of Gwaneumsa looming above, dark and foreboding. I scraped bleeding palms and knees clambering up disintegrating blocks of stone, to arrive gasping in a weed-choked courtyard, once grand but now obscured by creeping ivy and detritus. The cries grew louder, twisting into mocking laughter. "Turn back. This place belongs to the dead now." I clenched my flashlight, knuckles white. "Let me pass or show yourself, specters. I do not fear you." My bravado was met by silence heavy with anticipation. The ancient oak and iron door creaked open before me, beckoning with gaping darkness. Heart in mouth I stepped into realms forbidden to the living. Inside was a labyrinth of mildewed shrines and claustrophobic cells where monks had once prayed and meditated. Now errant drafts wailed mournfully through chinks as if the mountain itself was weeping. I entered the main prayer chamber, once resplendent with gilded idols and jewel-inlaid screens, but now housing only debris and gnawed bones. Suddenly the door slammed shut, plunging me into Stygian darkness. Blindly I scrambled through the blackness, my limbs like frozen lead. Then the whispers came, more distinct now, layered laments from forgotten centuries awaiting salvation. I huddled in fetal position, all thoughts supplanted by suffocating dread as the mountain claimed another lost soul. But then my questing fingers closed unexpectedly on something solid, a forgotten oil lantern abandoned, next to a pile of manuscripts, the glass cold but intact. Hand shaking, I ignited the last splash of fuel, watery light revealing a passage heading deeper into darkness hinting at mysteries untold. Constricting my terror into a tiny rebellious flame, I descended, crumbling stairs into funereal chill, the flickering illumination casting grotesque elongated shadows. As I reached the necropolis catacombs where generations of monks and pilgrims lay entombed, the cries clarified into rasping yellowed whispers, "We have slept too long in this claustrophobic gloom. Bring us liberation." Dusty bone shards skittered across my path, sending panicked heartbeats thundering through my skull once more. But just when it seemed my courage must collapse entirely, I turned a corner into the main burial vault and beheld a sight at once terrible and awe-inspiring. There beneath the carved stalactites shimmered a roiling host of malevolent spirits, their ectoplasmic forms vaguely human shaped, but constantly changing, features blurring from old to young, beautiful to hideous like reflections on wind-stirred water. Frozen in dreadful wonder, I watched the specters twitch and shudder, as if shaking off the viscous nardus, plans of the underworld still binding their souls. Like awakening insects, they unfolded distorted limbs and fluttered open, broken mouths in silent scream. Their hollow, lifeless gazes echoed the agony of being wrenched from hard-won eternal peace back into the anguish of corporal unrest. A ghost detached itself from the lamenting throng and hovered before me. Beneath its shroud, cowls seethed indistinct faces trapped in a limbo of perpetual rage and suffering. It reached out an attenuated phantom hand and placed it over my stuttering heart, leeching precious heat and life force while icy fingers sifted through memories and secrets hidden, even from myself. The tomb was filled with susurrus mutterings, as the ghosts awoke fully, their collective misery crashing against my psyche in great waves of woe. Just when it seemed my heart must give out, the spectre released me. Its next whisper echoed strangely inside my skull, "We have seen your mind and spirit. Although haunted by demons of your own, your intentions are noble. You wish only to give voice to tales no living tongue remembers." The ghost shimmered, dissolving briefly into swirling fog before reforming. "You offer us a chance to share our pain so the living may learn, and for that we shall not consume you entirely. Take our stories to the world if you have courage." Its ravaged face humanized briefly by a look of profound sorrow. "Tell how we came to die in this accursed place when Gwaneumsa fell into shadow, how the souls trapped here endure tortured exile from paradise at the whim of a thing we failed to contain." Summoning my last shreds of courage, I asked the terrible question, "What waits here in the darkness?" The spectre dissolved fully, then reformed into something primal and bestial I dared not fully comprehend, before pronouncing in lost tongue, "An ancient evil we awakened with our arrogance, an anti-life that feasts on souls." It paused as if hearing silent summons. "Already it stirs, drawn by your breath and pulsing fluids. Its thirst eternal and unquenchable. Go now. We grant you moments only before it wakes further. Go." Stumbling blindly, more in dread of what hunted me than collision with walls or fallen masonry, I emerged gasping into pre-dawn chill once more, packs clanking reassuringly while I gulped air that tasted of honey and pine. In the gloaming stillness, I sensed rather than saw the congregation watching from the temple's gaping wounds, save for one wraith form which hovered at my shoulder, whispering of the additional horrors I would inevitably face if I turned north instead of south. Before I could demand more specifics, the shade dissolved into morning mist, leaving only a lingering caress of frost on one cheek. While below the mountain woke slowly to pale winter sunlight, I glimpsed for a heartbeat the forlorn sanctuary intact and glorious again atop its eerie, gilded eaves vibrant against cobalt heavens before. The vision faded like a half-remembered dream against the present reality of crumbling decay enshrouded in grasping fingers of crawling fog. I smiled despite the dread churning inside at what future awaits me below. The orphan ghosts of Gwaneumsa have charged me to share their truth with any who would hear last tales of the lost sanctuary. I know now nightmares will haunt till death any who encounter that insatiable stalker crouched in light-devouring caverns deep inside Jiri's peaks, and not even peace of the grave can protect from its malignant hunger burning unseen, just beyond our earthly sphere of comprehension. Yet also understand more wealth of human experience exists trapped in those high ruins than remains in all current temples combined. And whatever once nearly emerged during Gwaneumsa's fiery end terrifies on atavistic levels, not merely another minor demon, but something far transcending human imagination in its awful magnitude. So despite the danger and my own soul forfeit, I know with fate's inexorability that chilling nightfall will find my steps turning north instead of the safety beckoning south, towards the waiting secrets and vengeance ghosts of forgotten Gwaneumsa.